Well, in my book, Collapsing Consciously, let me read just a couple short paragraphs from that. I wrote, "The moment you sign up to discover the truth about collapse and prepare for it, your human ego begins to die and something greater begins growing larger. The two of them begin a struggle that from day to day may leave you feeling crazy, angry, joyful, depressed, terrified, giddy, relieved, paranoid, stupid, guilty, liberated, grateful, despairing, heartbroken, courageous, compassionate, lonely, loved, hated. Need I continue? I believe this is precisely the underlying reason millions of people refuse to look honestly at collapse. The ego, under all of the yes buts, has way too much to lose. In other words, let's just keep the show on the road, pretending that there's nothing greater than my human ego, nothing that's tearing at me to become who I really am, rather than who I prefer to think I am." We all desperately need the humor of being able to look at our egos and just go, how could I be so constricted, and how could I be so biased and threatened, but this little self in me is just one part of who I am. And, I think that when we wake up to collapse or near-term extinction, Jennifer and I were talking today, when you wake up to near-term extinction, obviously you wake up to your own death. You wake up to your own mortality. And so one of the big questions is, who dies? Who is it that's dying? Well, it's not my eternal self. It's this ego, this rational mind that is so limited, that is not eternal, that is not the greater self. And Rumi talks about how that needs to die anyway. And Rumi talked so much about, one of his favorite expressions was, die before you die. And what he meant by that is, allow this ego, which we all need. I don't want to put down the ego, because somebody's got to find the car keys and find the door to the bathroom, right? We need an ego. But the problem is that the ego has taken over control in most of our lives, because industrial civilization makes sure that happens. That's how we're socialized. And so when we wake up, and especially when we wake up to near-term extinction, we need to be willing to allow this ego to shrink and, to be, and I'm speaking symbolically, to be killed. And that's why Rumi says, die now, in this love, die. When you have died in this love, you will all receive new life. Die now, and do not fear this death, for you will come forth from this earth and seize the heavens. Die now, and break away from this carnal soul, for this carnal soul is a chain, and you are its prisoners. Take an axe to dig through the prison. When you have broken the prison, you will all be kings and princes. Die now before the beauteous king. When you have died before the king, you will all be kings and renowned. Or we could say all be queens as well and renowned.
Yeah.
So that's our work, our spiritual work, as we wake up to these daunting realities.
I'm now accepting the reality of the surreal.